This is your brief explanation on how to read a natal birth chart. My name is Angela, and I am an astrologer obsessed with higher self-development. So if that topic interests you too, give this video a like, subscribe, and hit that bell button for all the high vibes coming your way. When you are reading your natal birth chart, what you're reading is your energetic code. So the cosmos and the way the planets, the signs, and the houses are all playing along up there. This is a mirror of your inner world reality. So with that being said, I like to start off every reading with an energy disclaimer. And what I mean by this is to understand that this natal birth chart is just a reading of aligned energies. And the practice to utilize them in your favor is how we use astrology as our level up strategy. Now, you are not the energy. You are you with the unique energetic code of your natal birth chart. So what I mean by this is, say you are a sun sign in Taurus. You are not Taurus, okay? The sun energy representing the self and self-expression is overlapped with the archetype of Taurus. So the self-expression then is Taurus. You are not Taurus. All right, so with that being said, let's get into the three fundamentals of how to read a natal birth chart. So first is the signs, the second is the houses, and the third is the planets. First, let's look at the signs. So where you will find the signs when reading a natal birth chart typically are on the outer ring as listed here, from Aries, the first sign, and all the way around to Pisces, the last sign. Now, astronomically, what the signs are constellations in the sky. And these constellations directly represent an archetype of the astrological zodiac wheel. This archetype is also represented and symbolized by a character like the scales for Libra, or an animal like the crab for Cancer. And through these archetypes in the stars, they told a story to the ancient Babylonians. And this story that came through is what created the personality type of the signs. With that being said, when we're interpreting these signs for our natal birth chart reading, what we're looking at is how we represent these characteristics in our life, the characteristics of life itself. And once we begin to layer the energy of this characteristic of life with the planets and the houses, the story then begins to unfold. So when we are reading a natal birth chart and interpreting the signs, what we're really looking at is how the energy shows up, how our energy aligns with the other energies playing a part in our whole energetic code. All right, now that we've covered the signs, let's get into the next segment. Let's now take a look at the houses. The houses in a natal birth chart are what makes up the 12 pieces of the whole wheel. From 1 to 12, you can see here listed in the center. Each of the houses are congruent with a sign. The first house symbolizes the same vibe, the same frequency, and a read of energy that relates to Aries energy. Taurus speaks to the second house. Gemini speaks to the third, and it does this all throughout the whole chart. The houses in astrology are the representations of the areas of life. So with that, the first house is the house of the self. We're here. We have shown up as what we are, who we are. It also speaks a lot to the physical self. We then associate the third house of networks, friendships, communication, and the 10th house of career and reputation. So as these are all representatives of areas of life, these areas of life come through for our energetic code. We then are able to read our energy through how that characteristic is being demonstrated in that area of life. Now, areas of life don't mean specific timelines. This is also a more conceptual way to look at life. So, for instance, the 8th house being spirituality, transformation, hidden depths, the sign that it's in will show you the way in which you approach your hidden depths and your deepest emotions needed for transformation, needed for level up strategy. Okay, now let's look at the planets. When we look at the planets, or just the birth chart in general, the first thing that really pops out to us is this craziness going on in the center. Now, not to be alarmed, it is a lot of extra digging and reading when it comes to interpreting what these lines mean. But basically what we're looking at here is the relationship between the planets. So I'm sure you've figured out by now, these floating guys hanging out throughout the chart are the planets. And when we look at a natal birth chart, what we're looking at is where on the orbit each planet was in relation to Earth here in the center. So at the time of the birth of this person, the sun was in front of the constellation of Aries. And with this information, we learn something vital to the person's overall energetic code. The experience of life that the sun rules is the experience of self-expression, of asserting yourself, of projecting your personality into the world. In other words, it's our ego. So the personality traits of Aries are then the way this person is self-expressing. The first house, being the house of self, we then see that this ego tie in partnership with this very dominant, bold sign is inherent in this person's energy, this person's overall vibe, as the first house is the house of self, the area of life where we are demonstrating who we are and what we are. So that's overall a snapshot of the way we interpret the planets and overlay the energy of the experiences they represent with where in life told by the houses and how we approach told by the signs. So this is some juicy level up strategy, right? For our higher self development. To know our energetic alignment is to have such a wide range conceptual lens on our success. And from here, I want to really touch on the fact that this is yours to harness and to be more aware of what works for you naturally with the energetic code and what obstacles are always in your favor, right? The other side of the lesson that comes through with unwanted experiences and areas of life they unfold are actually where we level up. To get to the root of how we can conquer it is where our higher self lives, and they're just waiting for you on the other side. There you have it, a brief introduction on how to read a natal birth chart, talking just about the fundamentals of the signs, the houses, and the planets. I really hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and ring that bell so you can be notified on the next higher self-development mindset with astrology and everything spirituality and success that's coming your way. Until then, keep your vibes high.